Ever seen someone laugh at a dish they can't understand? That's what happened the day Chef Raymond Voss, a world-famous culinary icon, mocked a quiet woman's cooking in front of a room full of students. Her dish looked simple, her tone humble, but what came next flipped every assumption he'd ever had about food, fame, and pride. Turns out, the woman he laughed at wasn't just a home cook. She was a Michelin-starred chef who had walked away from everything he was still chasing. And that single meal would change both their lives forever. A gleaming open kitchen inside a luxury culinary academy. Stainless steel counters shine, cameras are set up for a live demo. Students bustle around nervously as the famous Chef Raymond Voss prepares for his guest judging session. A woman, Layla, quietly places a tray of homemade dishes near the corner station. Chef Raymond: "Who made this? It smells like nostalgia and burnt cumin." Layla: "That would be mine, chef." Chef Raymond, chuckling: "Ah, the brave volunteer. What's your specialty, Miss Layla?" Laila Qureshi. Chef Raymond: "Well, Miss Qureshi, let's see what culinary chaos you've blessed us with." Assistant Chef Nora: "Chef, she's actually from our community class. First-time participant." Chef Raymond: "Perfect. Nothing like a good laugh before the real dishes come in." Layla, quietly: "You can laugh if you want, but it's cooked with care." Chef Raymond: "Care doesn't fix poor technique. Presentation is half the meal. This looks like something my apprentice would throw out." Student Ravi, murmuring to another: "He's going to destroy her." Layla, steady tone: "Then maybe I'll learn something." Chef Raymond: "Let's start with the stew. Texture's wrong, spice balance is off, garnish is lazy. Tell me, what's this supposed to be?" Layla: "A family recipe. Chickpeas simmered with tamarind and ginger. It's meant to comfort, not impress." Chef Raymond, laughing: "Well, congratulations. It's definitely not impressive." Nora: Chef Raymond, cutting her off: No, let her hear it. If she wants to step into my kitchen, she has to face real criticism." Layla, softly: "You assume I've never faced it before." Chef Raymond: "I assume you've never faced me before?" A few students snicker. Layla folds her hands, calm. Nora: "Chef, maybe move to the next dish." Chef Raymond: No, I'm curious now. This one's got confidence under all that humility." Layla: "Confidence isn't always loud, chef." Chef Raymond: "Cute line. You rehearse that." Layla: "No, I learned how to cook for people who couldn't afford mistakes." A silence spreads. A few students glance at her. Chef Raymond: "What's that supposed to mean?" Layla: "It means food was survival, not a presentation, not applause." Ravi: "That's deep." Chef Raymond: "Deep doesn't make it edible." Nora: Chef Raymond: All right. Let's wrap this up before I lose my appetite." Layla, calmly: "You already lost something, chef. Maybe not your appetite, but your empathy." The room goes still. Even Raymond's smirk fades for a beat. Chef Raymond: "You've got a sharp tongue for someone with bland food." Layla: "Maybe that's because I speak what I taste. The flavor of arrogance is always bitter." Whispers ripple among the students. Raymond glares, but she stays composed. Chef Raymond: "You think you can lecture me about arrogance? I've earned every bit of it. 20 years, 3 restaurants, 2 Michelin stars." Layla, quietly: "Then you know how heavy stars can be when you forget who you cook for." A long pause. Raymond picks up her spoon again, tastes silently. The camera crew catches the tension. Chef Raymond: "All right, you've had your say. Let's see if your next dish can defend it." Layla: "It won't need to defend anything. Food speaks, if you listen." He walks off, annoyed, but curious. Nora watches him go, then turns to Layla. Nora, you handled that better than most professionals. Layla, smiling faintly. I've dealt with harder critics. Life doesn't give Michelin stars, but it tests your recipes just the same. The same Culinary Academy kitchen, now quieter. Most of the students have stepped back. The air is tense but curious. Chef Raymond sits at the tasting table while Nora, Ravi, and two other assistants observe from a distance. Layla prepares her second dish silently. Nora, Chef, you want me to call the next participant? Chef Raymond, no, let's see what Miss Qureshi does next. I'm intrigued. Ravi, low voice. That's his code for being offended. Nora, murmuring, and curious. He only stays curious when he feels challenged. Chef Raymond, snapping. I can hear both of you. They straighten instantly. Layla continues stirring a sauce, calm and methodical. Chef Raymond, what's that now? More chickpeas. Layla, no, something simpler. Chef Raymond, simpler? You're doubling down? Layla, sometimes simplicity humbles complexity. Chef Raymond, dryly. I see, a philosopher with an apron. Ravi, Chef, she's making dal, I think. Chef Raymond, dal in a masterclass competition? Layla, yes, lentils, garlic, ghee, and patience. Chef Raymond, laughing, you can't win anyone's palate with patience. Not in fine dining. Layla, maybe not, but patience feeds souls, not egos. Raymond glances at her again, annoyed yet strangely reflective. Chef Raymond, you really think that sentimental approach belongs in this industry? Layla, cooking isn't an industry, chef. It's an inheritance. The assistants exchange surprised looks. Chef Raymond, and what exactly did you inherit? A home kitchen? Layla, softly. A small cafe, lost in a flood 3 years ago. The clinking of her spoon stops. Silence follows. Chef Raymond, I see, I didn't know. Layla, you didn't ask? A brief silence. The aroma of her dish fills the air. It's humble, but comforting. Ravi, that smells incredible. Chef Raymond, don't be dramatic, Ravi. Ravi, no, chef. It's honest. Like something my mother used to cook when she couldn't afford meat. Nora, he's right. It smells alive. Raymond folds his arms, watching her work. She plates the dish neatly, sets it before him without a word. Chef Raymond, all right, let's test this emotional therapy in a bowl. He takes a spoonful. The taste halts him mid-motion. His brows furrow. Chef Raymond, you tempered the garlic perfectly. The ghee's subtle. Layla, old trick, toasted until the edge of bitterness, then cooled. Learned from my mother. Chef Raymond, not bad. Still rustic. Not Michelin material. Layla, not everything good needs to shine on a menu. Chef Raymond, pausing. You talk like someone who's seen the other side of this kitchen. Layla, maybe I have. Nora tilts her head slightly, sensing something in her tone. Nora, you sound like you've worked in fine dining before. Layla, wiping her hands. Once, long ago. Chef Raymond, where? Layla, a small place in Paris, closed now. Chef Raymond, frowning. Name? Layla, Maison Lune. Raymond freezes, spoon midair. Nora blinks in shock. Nora, wait, Maison Lune? The Michelin restaurant that closed during the pandemic? Ravi, you mean that Maison Lune? The one with the mysterious head chef who disappeared? Layla gives a quiet, unreadable smile. Chef Raymond, you're saying you worked there? Layla, no, chef, I led it. Everyone stops. Even the sound of the stove fades in the silence. Chef Raymond, Your chef Layla Qureshi, the Michelin chef who vanished. Layla simply, not vanished, just stopped playing the game. Raymond looks at her dish again, this time not with mockery, but disbelief. Nora exhales, almost smiling. Nora. And she just taught the room a masterclass without saying a word. Layla meets Raymond's eyes, steady and kind. Layla, I didn't come here to impress you, chef. I came to remind you what food can mean when fame stops tasting good. The scene fades as Raymond sits silent, spoon still in hand, struggling to swallow more than just her food. Later that afternoon. The kitchen is quiet now. The students gathered near the tasting counter. The cameras are off. Chef Raymond sits alone, still holding Layla's recipe card. Nora, Ravi, and two other chefs linger, unsure whether to leave or stay. Nora, Chef, you've been staring at that card for 10 minutes. Chef Raymond, do you know how many times I've eaten at Maison Lune? Ravi, you actually went there? Chef Raymond, twice. Both times, I couldn't figure out what made it special. The flavors were clean, yes, but there was something else, something human. I thought it was the team. Turns out, it was her. Nora, you mocked her in front of the whole class. Chef Raymond, I mocked her cooking. I didn't know she was her. Nora, does that make it better? He doesn't respond. Layla enters quietly, wiping her hands with a towel. Layla, you can stop staring at the card. It's just ink, not magic. Chef Raymond, why didn't you say who you were? Layla, would it have changed how you treated me? A pause. Raymond looks down. Chef Raymond, probably. Layla, that's why I didn't. Nora and Ravi exchange a glance. The silence hums with quiet tension. Chef Raymond, you walked away from Michelin, from fame, from everything chefs dream of. Why? Layla, because dreams can turn into cages. I started cooking for people I'd never meet. Critics instead of families, stars instead of smiles. The food got prettier, but it stopped meaning anything. Chef Raymond, that's easy to say once you've had success. Layla, no, chef. It's easier to keep chasing it and pretend you're happy. He looks at her, the weight of her words landing heavily. Ravi, Chef Layla, sorry, Miss Layla. Do you miss it? Layla, smiling faintly. Sometimes, but I've learned that feeding 10 hungry people with one good meal gives more peace than feeding critics who never taste with their hearts. The room stays still. Raymond exhales, his pride cracking under quiet truth. Chef Raymond, when I started cooking, I wanted to heal people. My father was sick. I thought if I made food that could make him smile again, I'd done my job. Somewhere along the way, I stopped cooking for smiles. Layla, it happens to all of us. The kitchen rewards ego faster than empathy. He nods slowly, folding the recipe card. Chef Raymond, you taught me more in one afternoon than my whole career did. Layla, no, chef. I just reminded you what you already knew. A soft clatter as a spoon falls from Ravi's hand, breaking the quiet. Nora, if you two ever open a restaurant together, I'm applying first. Layla laughs lightly. Raymond almost smiles for the first time. Chef Raymond, you think I could cook beside someone I insulted publicly? Layla, you already have. You tasted my dish. The group chuckles softly, easing the tension. Raymond stands, finally meeting her gaze with respect. Chef Raymond, Layla, would you consider guest lecturing here? Our students could use your kind of honesty. Layla, I don't teach recipes, only reasons. Chef Raymond, then that's exactly what they need. A brief silence follows, filled with quiet understanding. Two chefs, once divided by pride, now connected by humility and truth. Early evening. The kitchen has calmed down. Most students have left, leaving only Chef Raymond, Layla, Nora, and Ravi. The lights are softer now, the stainless steel counters reflecting a calm glow. The tension from earlier has turned into quiet respect. Nora. Strange day, huh? Started with humiliation, ended with revelation. Ravi. I still can't believe she was behind Maison Lune. I watched your interviews, Chef. You used to quote that restaurant all the time. Chef Raymond. I did. It was the only place that reminded me food could be emotional. I never knew who was behind it. Layla, smiling faintly. Maybe that's how it should have stayed. Chef Raymond. No. People like you should be known. You earned it. Layla. I also lost a lot because of it. The long hours, the pressure, the obsession with being perfect. Michelin didn't take my joy. I handed it over to them. She wipes her hands, setting a clean cloth aside. Ravi, you sound like someone who forgave herself. Layla, not yet, but I'm learning. Chef Raymond, you rebuilt your life with simplicity. That's harder than building it with ambition. Layla, maybe, but it's quieter. I serve children now, and old people. They don't ask about stars or critics. They just say thank you. A small smile flickers on Raymond's face. Chef Raymond, do they know who you are? Layla, no, and they don't need to. Nora, that's beautiful. Layla nods, her tone soft but steady. Layla, I think every chef forgets at some point that food isn't about applause. It's about care. People remember warmth more than plating. Chef Raymond, you're right. Somewhere between the awards and investors, I started cooking for headlines. Layla, you can still change that? He looks down at his hands, once proud, now reflective. Chef Raymond, you know what I realized today? I mocked the one person who never defended herself. You didn't argue, didn't fight back. You let your food speak. That's something I forgot how to do. Layla, food doesn't need volume, chef, just intention. A quiet moment. Nora clears her throat softly, smiling. Nora, if this were a movie, this is where the music would swell and you two would open a restaurant together. Layla laughs gently. Layla, movies end where real kitchens begin. The work never stops. Chef Raymond, still, I'd like to learn from you. No cameras, no pressure, just cooking. Layla, you sure your pride can handle that? Chef Raymond, half smiling, it'll have to. Consider it detox. Ravi grins. Ravi, I'd pay to watch that collaboration. Michelin meets humanity. Layla, humanity deserves better than Michelin. A quiet laugh passes through them. The tension completely dissolves. Layla reaches for a pot, pours a bit of her dal into a bowl, and slides it toward Raymond. Layla, here, one more taste, this time without judgment. He tastes, closes his eyes briefly, nods. Chef Raymond, still simple. Layla, and Chef Raymond, perfectly simple. They exchange a quiet, knowing look. No rivalry, no pride, just understanding. The next morning, the Academy dining hall. Sunlight streams in through tall windows. A breakfast spread is laid out. Fresh bread, fruit, and simple dishes prepared by the students. The mood is lighter, but everyone seems to be waiting for something. Layla walks in, holding a small paper bag. Chef Raymond sits at the table, sipping coffee, visibly calmer than before. Nora. Morning, Chef. Morning, Miss Layla. Layla. Just Layla, please. I'm not much for titles. Chef Raymond, smiling faintly. Coming from a Michelin star chef, that's ironic. Layla. Titles fade faster than flavors. Ravi brings a tray of toast, looking proud. Ravi, Chef Raymond asked us to make breakfast without using a recipe, said we had to cook something that felt right. Layla, smiling, that's a good start. Chef Raymond, your words stuck. I wanted to see what happened if I stopped thinking like a judge and started tasting like a person again. He gestures for her to sit. She joins him. The students gather around quietly, listening. Chef Raymond, I spent last night rethinking everything. The fame, the pressure, the arrogance. I realized I built a career feeding expectations instead of people. Layla, realizing it is half the work. Changing it is the other half. Chef Raymond, that's the part I want to learn. If you'll teach me. She studies his face, the sincerity in his tone. Layla, I don't teach recipes, chef, but I can show you what cooking feels like when you stop performing. Nora, maybe we all need that lesson. Layla opens her paper bag, revealing simple flatbreads wrapped in cloth. Ravi, that smells amazing. Layla, bread my mother taught me to make when money was tight. Flour, salt, and patience, nothing fancy. Chef Raymond, taking one. That seems to be your secret ingredient in everything. Layla, patience? Chef Raymond, yes. And honesty, I forgot both. He tears a piece, dips it in the lentils she brought, and takes a slow bite. His voice softens. Chef Raymond, you know, it's strange. I've eaten food worth thousands, and yet this simple bread, it humbles me. Layla, that's what food should do. Remind us we're all the same at the table. A moment of silence follows. The students exchange quiet looks, moved by the stillness. Nora, Chef, will you still do the Michelin showcase next month? He looks at Layla before answering. Chef Raymond, maybe, but this time it'll be different. I want you there, Layla, not as a guest, but as a partner. Layla, smiling softly. I told you I'm done with spotlights. Chef Raymond, then stay in the shadows. I'll just cook beside them. They both smile, an unspoken truce between them. Layla reaches for her cup of tea. Layla, you know, Chef, humility suits you. You should wear it more often. Chef Raymond, grinning, only if you promise to keep making that dal. Layla, deal, but next time you stir the pot. Everyone laughs quietly. The sound feels light, unforced, like the air after a storm. The camera would linger on their hands, one seasoned by fame, the other by life, breaking bread together. Chef Raymond raising his cup, to food that feeds more than hunger. Layla raising hers, and to chefs who finally remember why they started. As the kitchen fell quiet, the aroma of Layla's simple food lingered like a reminder of what truly matters. Chef Raymond didn't see a rival anymore. He saw a teacher. In her calm, he found the humility he had lost, chasing perfection. No medals, no critics, just two cooks sharing a meal that spoke louder than fame ever could. Some lessons don't come from success. They come from being humbled. And sometimes, the dish that looks ordinary ends up feeding the soul. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who loves food, humility, and second chances. Subscribe for more powerful, soul-stirring stories every week.